So I'm here to talk to you about our Ewoyaa discovery in Ghana and our journey as we transition from explorer to developer on what is arguably one of the best undeveloped near-term hard rock lithium pegmatite projects out there. Just our standard disclaimer. So we've made Ghana's first lithium discovery, and we are now on track to build Ghana's first lithium mine. So we're listed on the London AIM, and in September last year we listed on the ASX, and we've also got another listing, secondary listing on the OTCQX. Got a healthy cash balance and a market cap today in the order of 300 million Australian dollars. And we've got very loyal shareholders with Ewoyaa International Holdings who've been with the company since it IPO'd in 2014 and supported us throughout our history. And more recently through our joint venture agreement with Piedmont Lithium that I'll get into more detail shortly. So Ghana is, I believe, one of best-in-class projects. Its strategic location within the established pro-mining jurisdiction of Ghana. We're 110 kilometers from an operating deep-sea port. It's a sealed bitumen road to get to that port. It's grid power that's fed by hydro. It's a very sustainable project in terms of its very low power requirements and low water requirements, given it's a DMS-only process flow sheet, so gravity-only process flow sheet. We are not going into flotation. And we've got a very strong representation in terms of a Ghanaian workforce, overwhelmingly from within the communities where we operate. And those things combined have delivered exceptional financial outcomes to the project as part of our PFS that we announced last year. So I'll get into those numbers in more detail, but just high level, post-tax NPV8 in excess of $1.3 billion, internal rate return over 200%, and that's a 12.5-year mine life, 2 million tonne per annum ROM throughput, and payback of a capital of 125 million in less than 5 months. So this is our vision, a sustainable lithium supply with positive social impact to support the global transition to a carbon neutral future. And I believe it's those unique geological characteristics and proximity to infrastructure that support our vision. So this is where our portfolio sits. You can see where the Ewoyaa Lithium discovery was made, which we made in 2017 and announced maiden drilling results in 2018. It's 100 kilometers from the capital of Accra. You can see the ocean standing on top of the deposit, and we're 110 kilometers down the Takoradi Highway to the operating deep-sea port of Takoradi. It's a 560 square kilometer portfolio in Ghana, and we also have 2 license applications in Ivory Coast for a combined 1,300 square kilometer portfolio. So this is where our resource currently sits. It's 35.3 million tonnes at 1.25%. Almost 80% of that is in indicated and measured, and the resource has constantly delivered since the maiden resource of 14.5 million tonnes and growth to 21.3 to 30.1 million tonnes and now 35.3, and that grade has stayed consistent throughout. So it's a very well-behaved, good continuity deposit. This is key for any hard rock spodumene project. So in the pegmatite space, you want to have simple mineralogy that can deliver a simple process flow sheet. So in our case, the majority of our lithium credits are in spodumene, so we don't have any of the other myriad of lithium-bearing minerals. And importantly, that spodumene is very coarse-grained. So what that means is it's easy to process through a gravity-only process flow sheet. We don't need to go to flotation to get the recoveries and grades we need to produce a spodumene concentrate. It's also very clean. Our host rock is schist, so we don't have issues with high iron content host rocks. and contaminants within that concentrate at less than 1% iron and less than 3% combined sodium-potassium. And we've also demonstrated that we can convert our concentrate to battery-grade carbonate and hydroxide through ANSTO. Location, location, location. So any mining project, logistics is key, and this project certainly stands out in that regard. We're a kilometre from the national highway that you can see there. It's 110 kilometres to the operating deep-sea port that now has ship loading facilities built at that site since that photo was taken. And that's a dedicated minerals handling port. Exports manganese and bauxite, currently only 40% utilisation. And we have adjacent grid power that's fed by the Akosombo Dam in Ghana, so hydropower. So those key fundamentals of the right geology, exceptional logistics and proximity to operational infrastructure delivered a very robust pre-feasibility study last year. This was based on our resource at that time, which was 30.1 million tonnes at 1.26. We're now at 35.3 million tonnes. It was based on a long-term spodumene concentrate price of $1,200 per tonne, so conservative, and an annualized average spodumene concentrate price per tonne of $1,359 per tonne, so conservative. And you can see there, based on a 12.5-year mine life at 2 million tonne ROM throughput, we had a capital cost of $125 million, given the simple process flow sheet, DMS only. That delivered NPV8 in excess of 1.3 billion, internal rate returns over 200%, and payback in less than 20 weeks. So really exceptional economic outcomes. So this was going to be updated for our DFS, which is due end Q2 this year, and that will be based on a larger resource and revised spodumene concentrate pricing. Importantly, we've got a joint venture with Piedmont Lithium. So Piedmont have a right to 50%, they're earning into 50% offtake of our spodumene concentrate. We retain our 50%, which at this stage is uncommitted, and we maintain control of the project. So Piedmont will also earn 50% at the mine level, and they're at 10% at the topco of Atlantic Lithium. So we have a strong working relationship with Piedmont, technical committee that reviews programs and budgets on a monthly basis, and we're sharing learnings in that regard. Working with your communities is critical wherever you are, notwithstanding in Africa. So we work very closely with our communities, especially around employment, training, nurseries, revegetation of drill access and drill pads, equipment, donations, and our ongoing environmental monitoring programs. As a result, we're very ingrained within the community. Over 80% of our Ghanaian staff comes from the communities where we operate, and they all go home at their end of their day shift. So it's not remote. They're all going home to their families, and as such, we've got a very good relationship with our community. So this year is going to see a large exploration program as we advance the DFS towards mine build in parallel. We've got in excess of 20,000 meters of auger planned and 6,500 meters of RC drilling to follow up targets throughout this year, including a passive seismic survey to look for any blind or concealed pegmatite deposits that could be a game changer to the current resource. We've also got 12,000 meters of resource drilling planned to grow the resource and increase confidence accordingly. So what this means is ongoing news flow from the drill bit. From the study's perspective, our DFS is due Q2, the end of Q2 this year. We've already announced an optimized process flow sheet design, as well as we'll be looking at various tonnage throughputs to optimize the project economics given the larger resource. In parallel with the DFS, we're going to commence scoping studies, stage 2 scoping studies, which will look at the potential for early spodumene concentrate production through modular mini DMS plants. So this will allow us to get into early production whilst the mine is being built and the industrial concentrate plant is being built. It will allow us to train our workforce, understand materials handling, and test the logistics pathway. So we're targeting first concentrate production in 2025. We've submitted our mining license application last year, and we hope to be permitted at the end of this year, which will then allow us to break ground early 2024 with first concentrate 2025. So what can we expect in this year? We've got a lot of news flow through exploration and the resource programs that I outlined earlier. We've got our DFS due end Q2 this year, which will incorporate the larger resource and revise spodumene pricing and various throughputs. We hope to be permitted at the end of this year, and we're in the process of building our leadership team as we transition from explorer to developer. And that's it. Thank you very much.